RussellPools.com.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. Means we're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. About half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. And we got plenty to do over the next 2 hours. We'll hear from LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson, what he had to say after last night's game. It's a What If Wednesday. If you've got some what ifs, I'd like to hear them. We've got Live Golf covered. We've got LSU baseball drafts covered. We're comparing eras in What If Wednesday, I'm told. So we've got plenty to do there at 1:30. Our friend Dr. Bankhead from Oxford is going to be with us at 1:45. Koki Riley at 2 o'clock talking LSU baseball. Mel Kiper's got a latest mock drafts. And, of course, it's Wednesday. SEC Baseball Power Rankings coming your way in 90 minutes. Let's crank this thing up the way we do every day with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
LSU beats Grambling last night 7-1, and they threw a little lipstick on it in the 8th inning. Now, I am well aware, as are you, that you get 8 or 9 chances to hit in a baseball game, and runs that you score in the 8th inning certainly count every bit as much as they do in the 1st or 2nd inning. So it's not to completely discredit everything LSU did offensively in that 8th inning, but for 7 innings, it was bad. For 7 innings, it was bad. LSU did not produce an RBI hit until the 8th inning when Omar Cerna launched, and I mean launched, a home run over the bleachers in left field. What you saw in this game through 7 innings was an LSU team that mustered 3 runs on 4 hits. Their run-scoring plays early in the game were a ground ball to first base that was nubbed off the end of the bat, a fly ball to left field that was hit well to the track, but was aided by some miscues by Grambling. And that was it. Like, you got a pass ball to score a run, and that was it. So that sounds like, on paper, a Friday night in the SEC when you're facing a top 20 pick in the draft. Instead, you were facing SWAC pitching, a team that came to the box last night with an ERA over 9. A team that had been 10-run ruled by Northwestern State and Southeastern and Northeastern. A team that's bad. They came in 5-13. They're 5-14. And LSU's offense was asleep basically for 7 innings. And it wasn't like they were hitting a bunch of lasers everywhere. I thought Yaman got into one pretty good that was a sac fly to the wall in left field. But more or less, it was just a quiet, weak effort for 7 innings. Now, I want to talk about some of the things LSU did in the 8th, and that'll be viewed in a positive light. But that was disappointing because I told you yesterday that, look, you had a really nice offensive finish to the weekend at Vanderbilt. What you do against Grambling is not necessarily indicative of what you're going to do against Oklahoma, but I was just looking for some good vibes, looking for an evening at the box where you could feel good about yourself for 9 innings. And I've seen LSU teams go out there against midweek competition, against Grambling, against Southern, even against some of the schools with a better baseball reputation in the state of Louisiana, and just hammer them from the start through 7 innings. You win 17-2, you go home. And that's what I was hoping to see last night. Not that a 17-run outburst again would translate to Southeastern Conference play, but you might go home feeling really good about yourself. And I'm just trying to get some positive energy, some positive vibes injected into this team so they're not wearing the weight of the world in themselves all the time. And for 7 innings, you didn't get it. Now, thankfully, your bullpen really did some good things on their end. You gave the ball to Reagan Ricken to start the game, and immediately you make things stressful. Not Ricken, He struck the first guy out he saw on 3 pitches. But the third pitch bounced, and Omar Cerna picked it up and plunked the base runner with it. And then Ricken threw a wild pitch on the first pitch to the second hitter. And you had made an error and thrown a wild pitch 4 pitches into the game. And then the 3-hole hitter got hit by a 1-0 pitch. So you had seen 3 hitters, and you'd made an error, you'd thrown a wild pitch, and you would hit a guy. And I'm sitting there watching this going, this is just so frustrating. They can't let you ease into anything and feel good about it. It's white knuckling all the time with these guys. And that's what it was early on in this game, because Grambling put a couple of guys on in the first, and they put a couple of guys on to lead off the second, but LSU got off that hook. Grant Fontenot got a big strikeout, and then they put 2 of their first 3 guys on in the third, and finally they got a 2-out hit in the fourth to tie the game. But they had put pressure on you the first 4 innings. But after that, LSU's bullpen buckled down and did what I believe LSU's bullpen can do to some teams. You saw a cavalcade of arms come in: Cooper Williams, Maverick Rizzi, Ethan Plog, Gavin Guidry, Marcos Paz, and they handled the last 5 1/3. They shut them out, only allowed 2 hits, only allowed 1 walk, and that was Paz at the end, and struck out 9 to slam the door. They were throwing strikes. The stuff looked good. I thought Cooper Williams looked awesome. I thought Maverick Rizzi's fastball at 96, 97, 98 was running hard to the arm side. He was throwing it over the plate. Ethan Plog only faced 2 guys, but he got a strikeout. I thought Gavin Guidry, as we've come to expect, threw the breaking ball over the plate, looked good, looked comfortable, looked healthy, and threw it well. And then Paz's stuff is electrifying. 95, 96, and the breaking ball has 2 feet of horizontal, vertical movement on it. I mean, it is falling off the table. And I thought those guys were really, really good to strike out 9, and more importantly, just hammer the strike zone. Again, I've said it 8 times, but I don't want to be misrepresented here. Like, I know that Grambling is not Oklahoma. Grambling is not good. So I'm not here to just rack up statistics. The most important thing were the guys were throwing hard, they were commanding pitches, they weren't walking guys, they weren't hitting guys, they were finishing with quality, finishing out pitches, and it looked good. It looked good on Tuesday night. And so you go to the offense, which was bad for 7 innings. You had 3 runs on 4 hits. But there in the 8th, you did some things that were good. Omar Cerna, who really did hit the ball pretty hard last week. He had the big home run against Creighton, grand slam into the trees in left center. I thought he hit the ball hard a couple of times at Vanderbilt. One of them got caught at the track, but he did have a double, and I thought he did a good job of hitting the ball hard at Vanderbilt. Then Zach York drew a walk. Then Caraway gets the infield hit, and they throw the ball away. Ruckert draws a walk, but then Chris Stanfield comes up, and he hasn't been a part of this thing. Stanfield has not been in the lineup for a month, and he punches a single into center field because that's what he can do. It's 3-2. He's worked the count full. It was a 1-2 count. He worked it full and then punched a single into center field on a line. That's what he does. And then he allowed them to implode, and you got the Milam hit by pitch and the Kade and Beatty hit by pitch, which wasn't great. But I liked Cerna hitting the ball hard. I liked Stanfield's ability to step in and get the big hit we know he can get. So that part was good. And look, you do get 8 innings in a game that you win at home to swing the bat, and I'm not going to completely discredit getting 3 hits, scoring 3 runs late in the game. But was it a good offensive effort for LSU? No. Was it an awesome night to hit? No. I talked about that yesterday. It's going to be chilly. Wind's going to be blowing in a little bit. You're probably not going to be able to just muscle up and bash 5 balls out of the yard against Grambling, but you should be able to square these guys up. They're not going to have a bunch of guys that are throwing 98 miles an hour. And contrary to a lot of folks, I think, default setting, I got this question a few times when LSU was slumping in the non-conference. Was it because they were facing a bunch of like 84, 85 mile an hour fastballs? Like, no, they're really not. Every once in a while, one of those does show up, but most of the guys that you saw at Dartmouth or at Northeastern or at Milwaukee or at Kent State, or like most of those guys are throwing 88, 92. Like everyone does that now. The days of like, hey, the SEC throws 93, 94, and when you step into non-conference, like, yeah, you're seeing like 84-mile-an-hour heaters. That's not a thing. And I think it's become like a talking point. It's like, hey, they're not hitting against some of these guys, but like this is not even close to SEC pitching. Their timing's all thrown off. I watched every inning. I'm seeing a lot of guys from Dartmouth throwing 89, 90. Like it's not something wildly off-putting that you just can't seem to time up. And last night I'm watching Grambling, and no, I don't see 96 on the gun, but that big left-hander they brought in with the big breaking ball, like he was throwing 90, 91. Like that's not a wild thing to adjust to. And Jay Johnson said after the game that, like, yeah, Grambling threw their entire weekend rotation at LSU, and that's not surprising. Their conference weekends don't mean a lot. Really, ultimately, what they're playing for is the conference tournament. I heard Roger Cador say that on the record one time. But it was not a great effort by LSU, but you won the game. Your bullpen did some good things. After the error in the first, you were relatively clean on defense, didn't do anything egregious there, which is nice. And then you hit the ball in the 8th inning, and you did win the game 7-1. So I'm not here to dump a cold bucket of water on a 9-inning baseball game. I'm here to say I wish they would have swung the bats better. It was not a very good 7 innings offensively. They got it done when they needed to in the 8th. The pitching was good, and you won the game, and now you move on and play Oklahoma. That's essentially where you are with that game. There's not too much more to draw from it than that. You did save pretty much everybody for Thursday as you look at the pitch counts for LSU. Ricken threw 36. I don't expect to see him on Thursday anyway. Fontenot threw 34. I wouldn't expect him to see him on in high leverage spots on Thursday. Everybody else should be good to go. 14 for Dothy, 14 for Williams. Rizzi threw 24. He gets Wednesday off. He should be okay. Ethan Plog 10, Guidry 7, Paz 19. I don't have a problem with any of those after a day off throwing the baseball. So your pitching set up where you need it to be for Thursday, and we'll talk about that. Jay Johnson had some interesting things to say after this game, so we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and we'll hear from Jay Johnson what he had to say following LSU's win over Grambling. 2 of the things he said particularly caught my ear. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com is the website, FabryChevrolet.com. 35 years the Fabry family has been in business here in the capital city. So at that point, you're familiar with their operation. They are wonderful when it comes to a buying experience and customer service. They give you great service after the sale. And, of course, you can get great deals at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Make that short drive to Highway 61 in St. Francisville if you're looking for a Chevy Silverado. Looking for a new truck, up to $11,000 off MSRP on Silverados. Looking for a GMC Sierra, even better. Up to $13,000 off MSRP and 0.0% APR financing. The entire inventory is online at FabryChevrolet.com, so you can check that out and you can see what they've got on the lot, and then make that short drive up to St. Francisville. FabryChevrolet.com is the website. FabryChevrolet.com.
Championships are won with preparation, and so are great roofs.
Coach is tough on us about preparation, and Paris brings that same championship mindset.
Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Our Wednesday shows every single week brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. You can find them online at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. And I'm going to give you Joey Blanchard's cell phone number later on in this read. That's the best way to get in touch with Renaissance Homes and Pools. You might say, well, who's Joey Blanchard? He owns Renaissance Homes and Pools, and you will be talking to him every step of your project. As you're looking for a new pool, they can handle it there, no matter what that pool may look like. If you're looking for a big old resort-style pool for the whole family, you can do that. A little cocktail pool, because that's the part of your life that you're in right now. They can make that happen as well. An outdoor kitchen, perfectly in the purview of Renaissance Homes and Pools. Even as far as building your forever home. If you need a builder, Joey Blanchard and Renaissance Homes and Pools are happy to do that. Text Joey, 225-252-7745. Again, that number is 225. It's right here in Baton Rouge. 252-7745. And say, hey, looking for a pool. Can you give me a call? He's happy to do it. Looking for an outdoor kitchen. Can you give me a call? Happy to do it. Hey, looking for bids, builders, trying to build a new house. He's done that for dozens and dozens of folks around Baton Rouge, and he is happy to do it for you. As I've said, the beauty of doing work with Renaissance Homes and Pools is you're dealing with the owner of the company start to finish. Joey will be there every step of the way. It's comforting knowing that you're dealing with the owner, and you will always be doing that with Renaissance Homes and Pools. Check him out online at builtbyrenaissance.com or send Joey a text at 225-252-7745. What If Wednesday is coming your way in 12 minutes. Got some interesting what ifs this week that involve the all-Maneri team against the all-Jay Johnson team. That's quite an ask. Then some live golf questions as well, so we'll get into some of that here shortly. But let's hear from Jay Johnson last night. I'm going to break this up into two kind of segments here. The first is about the pitching, which was good last night. You held Grambling to one run, but it was more so how it looked. The amount of strikes that LSU threw, the Tiger pitchers only walked 3 Grambling hitters, and you struck out 15, and it just looked good. And Jay Johnson spoke about a few things with the pitchers, but the first question he gave a very interesting answer to, and he kind of bristled at it, and that was about getting work for his pitchers, meaning going down the line, making sure you get everybody some innings against a SWAC team. Here's Jay's answer to that.
No, I wanted to win the game. It may not make sense to all of you. Like, this was a must-win game. Like, to me, I mean, knowing how all this works, this was a must-win game. So it's the way it goes, and it was about matching them up and lining them up.
I'm going to tell you what I think. This is Hunt speculation, but I think I'm on the right track here. When he said this is a must-win game, you may not know how all this works. I think I know what he's talking about. I think he's looking at this going, I probably don't have a 23-7 SEC team the way we're playing right now. We've lost 2 weekends in a row. We're looking for some answers defensively. We're looking for some answers offensively. We're looking for some answers in the bullpen. We're looking for answers in the starting rotation. We're looking for a lot of answers right now. We're not going to be, at this point, a slam dunk to be a top 8 national seed. We may not be a slam dunk to be a regional host. We may not be a slam dunk to get in the field of 64. What we can't do, if we get into that situation, is lose to a team that's RPI is going to be 1 billion. And Grambling's RPI will be 1 billion. So I think that's what he meant when he said that. That's me reading the tea leaves. If he wants to be a little bit cryptic on that, I'll speculate on it, and I think that's probably what he means. And they won. So good for him. That's awesome. But the pitching did do a pretty good job, and that kind of started with Grant Fontenot into Dax Dothie, but it took off when Cooper Williams took the ball. He started a string of 5 LSU relievers that looked really good, and Jay Johnson talked about Cooper Williams.
He's a good pitcher. He stubbed his toe a couple times, like several of these guys have, but he's a big part of our now. He's a big part of the future, and I'm really proud of him. That was an electric 9th inning the other day, and these guys can hit. Like I watched them for 3 games with my own eyes when they were here in that little tournament deal, and we made a lot of good pitches tonight. But he went through the top of the order there, and those guys have put up some numbers. They scored some runs at Southeastern Louisiana. They scored 14 on Sunday, so he did a nice job with their better hitters right there.
If you were unaware, Grambling played at the box the weekend that Dartmouth and Northeastern were here. Grambling was playing in the afternoon against those teams when LSU was playing at night. LSU didn't play Grambling that weekend, but they were in the box for a couple games, so that's what he's talking about there. Interestingly, Jay Johnson had some time on his hands in Nashville unexpectedly. The team was supposed to fly home on Sunday evening. They could not because of weather. You'll know that front that came through, and LSU got stuck in Nashville into Monday. And Jay Johnson had some time to look at some things while he was there, not just taking some vacation in Music City, not hitting up the bars on Broadway. He was looking at LSU pitching, and he spoke about what that looked like on Monday in Music City.
It's going to be important. Like, we need these guys that we need to be good to throw. I think command across the board wasn't great, obviously, this weekend. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. So I think one of the ways in the past that has helped my pitching staffs, whether it's here or other places, getting some guys on the mound repeatedly. And it kind of went under the radar last year because we won the national championship, but we actually did that with a few guys, and it helped some of the younger guys throw more strikes last year. So kind of something, we itemized a bunch of stuff for the pitching staff yesterday while we were stuck in Nashville, and it's a good start to that tonight. I was proud of them.
They're working hard at it, and he's right. I did a segment on this yesterday. Pitchers have gotten better under Nate Yeskie the last 2 years, in some cases significantly. Now, if LSU gets some solid improvement from Dax Dothie and Reagan Ricken, that's not going to be massively impactful. It helps. It's good. It's a good thing. And I think Reagan Ricken's got huge potential, by the way. But, the real, steps forward have got to be from the guys at the front of the rotation and in the closer spots. The high-leverage pitchers are going to have to be better than they were in Nashville. Obviously, your starting pitchers did not do a great job in Nashville. Gavin Guidry gave up a walk-off home run in Nashville. You need better efforts from the guys atop your staff. But Jay Johnson spoke to just, helping all these guys in different ways, and that's what they're really sinking their teeth into right now.
I'm not a pitching guru. I know what winning pitching is, though, at this level, and I know where I believe some of our shortcomings are, and it's just tightening up some preparation things or taking them to another level. If there's a pitch execution for a reliever, their catch play, it has to mirror what the improvement needs to be. You only have so many throws as a pitcher. Hitters can swing all day. Pitchers can't throw all day. So the quality of those have to really, really be lined up. With the bullpen, how are we getting them ready? Making a small adjustment in my communication down there to overly ensure they know exactly what we want them to do when they're coming in the game. Making sure they are clear what their pitch-to-pitch adjustment needs to be. It's everybody knows you can't walk people, but how do you do that? And there's a different answer. So some guys, it's changed their sights. Some guys, it's changed their something mechanically. Some guys, it's just a mental reset. We have a good, talented pitching staff that has not pitched good. So it's just digging through all of these layers, you know what I mean? How to use guys, how to, call pitches with guys, just literally unpacking all of it to help them because they need some help right now.
I think that was a pretty powerful bite there. The one line that I think punched the hardest in that bite was, we have a good pitching staff that's not pitching very good. And I believe that. I think that's right. I think Casey Evans is a pretty good pitcher. He's not pitching good. I think Cooper Moore's a good pitcher. He didn't pitch good on Saturday. I think Gavin Guidry's a good pitcher. He got hit over the weekend. I think Maverick Rizzi's a good pitcher. He's walking too many guys. He didn't last night, but he's walking too many guys. I think Santiago Garcia and Ethan Plog are throwing 94 with plus breaking stuff as left-handed specialist relievers. And they're hitting guys and walking guys. But they've got talent. And I think that they're good pitchers. Santiago Garcia was a really good pitcher for Oregon at the end of the year last year. He was great in summer ball this year. They have good pitchers that aren't pitching very well. And they're gonna make some improvements. It's just how quickly. Because as I talked about last week entering the Vanderbilt series, if you don't improve the next 2 weeks and you drop a couple series and you drop your first 3, I'm just speaking hypotheticals now, but if you don't make those improvements already, you jump into that month of just terror where you're on the road in Knoxville and on the road in Oxford and on the road in Starkville and you home series against a good A&M team. Like, that's a tough stretch. Maybe Ole Miss and Tennessee aren't as good as we thought, and maybe those aren't as tough as I thought initially. But you need to get it figured out pretty quickly here. So they're working at it really hard, and I think they're going to get better. I liked some of the stuff I saw last night. Now, here's a completely separate discussion that I want to get into here because I'm a little puzzled by this answer by Jay Johnson, mainly because he's talking about, I think, what I do for a living. But it seemed a little bit aggressive to me, and I want to flesh it out a little bit. But he was asked about Chris Stanfield, who has returned to the lineup and got a big hit. I talked about it in the first segment. He's a big addition. He's a good defender. They've not played great defense in left field, and he's a proven hitter, and they have not hit in left field. So I agree with what Jay Johnson is saying to some extent, but he got a little aggressive with it. This is Jay Johnson talking about Chris Stanfield to the local media.
I just think you guys have totally underestimated his value to how good a player he is and how important he is to our team and our program. Like, that's my opinion. Dude's one of the best players. I told everybody before the season he would be one of the best players in the country this year. And we missed him. I mean, somebody said to me, oh, it's a good thing. You can get some other. I'm like, what the frick are you talking about? It's a good thing. Like, it's really good seeing him come up there. And, I mean, he was like he didn't miss a game, from my standpoint.
So he starts it with, I think you guys are underestimating his impact on our program and our team. I'm in a lot of those press conferences. I read a lot of stuff that Koki Riley and Glenn West and a bunch of people that cover the team write. I write stuff. I talk. I listen to Matt, hear the morning guys, listen to Charlie. I have not heard a lot of people, listen to Musso as well. Like, I've not heard a lot of people be like, yeah, this Stanfield guy in left, like, kind of sucks. Like, they'll get over it. Like, I mean, he hit 330 in SEC play last year. He led the league in doubles. He was a big hit machine in the postseason, punched one into right field with the bases loaded in the Super. He got a huge hit against Coastal. I haven't heard a lot of people denigrating Chris Stanfield's game. In fact, Chris Stanfield is the most predictable piece to the whole roster, I think. Like, he's going to play good defense, guaranteed. He's going to hit the ball pretty hard on the ground and on the line. He's done it for 3 years. I would call that guaranteed. He's not going to hit for power. He's going to run well. He's not going to hit a ton of balls the other way. Like, if you told me on January 20th, hey, I need you to take out a pen and paper, and you can pick any player on the team, and you have to project their stats the most accurately of anybody you possibly can, I would have projected Chris Stanfield. I would have taken Chris Stanfield and I would have gone 303 batting average, 1 homer, 8 steals, good defense in left, 14 doubles. Like, he would have been the guy that I would have projected with the most comfort. And for him to suggest that, sometimes coaches are talking to the players through the media, and maybe that's just him firing up his team, saying, hey, like, you're getting Stanfield back. Look how big a deal this guy is. He's going to be awesome. Like, y'all trust me and trust him that he's going to make a big impact on a slumping team. Maybe he's talking to Stanfield saying these guys are doubting you because he thinks that lights a fire. Or maybe he thinks that the local media, local TV, local writers, local radio talking heads, that we just bash Chris Stanfield. I maybe he read one thing that was not flattering about Chris Stanfield at once upon a time. I'm not really sure. I just found that to be an odd way to broach that question, to immediately go to the local media underestimating Chris Stanfield. Trust me, there are players that in all across a lot of sports that I feel like the local media has said some things about in a negative light. I just haven't heard or read that about Chris Stanfield. Maybe I've missed it, but that was curious to me. But I'm glad Chris Stanfield's back, because LSU tried 4 guys in left field when he was out, and those 4 guys didn't really do much. So to have Stanfield back, immediately punches in an RBI hit at Auburn. At Vanderbilt. Same thing, green wall in left field at Vanderbilt over the weekend, and then gets a big 2-run hit on Tuesday night. So good to have Chris Stanfield back. I agree with you, Coach Johnson. Let's come back and do What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. This is a new success story that I've told you the last couple of weeks. You can hear it from a firsthand perspective on our morning show over on Talk 107.3, Mornings with Brian Haldane. Brian Haldane called David Duvall, One Bath and Closet, said, hey, we got to do something with our master bathroom. It's dated, not functional for us anymore. And so David came in and completely handled the Haldane's master bathroom, from the floors, added a vanity up top where they only had 1. Now they have 2. Really remade the entirety of their master bathroom, and the Haldanes have been absolutely thrilled with that. You can be as thrilled as Brian Haldane over on Talk 107.3. He tells you about it every morning over there, and I'm happy to tell you about it now, because David is second to none. He is professional. He has been at this for nearly 4 decades. And if you're looking for a new closet, if you're looking for a new bathroom, if you're looking for just a small renovation to the bathroom, call David Duvall at One Bath and Closets. Go to the website, OneBathAndClosets.com. Request that free consultation. Get set up with David in the near future. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find him online at OneBathAndClosets.com.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit LouisianaPropane.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
March Madness cranked up last night, as you're well aware, and it will begin in earnest tomorrow with the NCAA tournament and, I guess, 16 games that we'll see in action. But Mower Madness coming up at Gotro's Outdoor Power. Been telling you about it for a couple of weeks. March 23rd through the 28th, so that's next week. Mower Madness at Gotro's Outdoor Power. Both locations, talking about Gonzales and on Airline in Baton Rouge. Open house with food and giveaways on Friday the 27th. Everything is going to be on sale throughout the entire week. Going to be the best prices they have all year. Some examples: 15% off all Echo products, $250 off all Hustler Raptors, up to 32% off MSRP on Hustler commercial zero turns. You heard that right. 32% off MSRP on all Hustler commercial zero turns. Going to be raffling off 2 DeWalt 20-volt blowers at each store on Friday for the open house. So go by and see him at Gotro's Outdoor Power. It is the Mower Madness sale, March 23rd through the 28th, with the 27th being the big open house. Both locations, Airline in Baton Rouge and in Gonzales. Family owned and operated. Best place to get that zero-turn mower. It's Gotro's Outdoor Power. All right, it's time for What If Wednesday.
Space, reality. It's more than a linear path, where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
So what if LIV never gets off the ground? Non-major golf tournaments were maintaining some great fields pre-LIV.
Yeah, I mean, if LIV never gets off the ground, we get better fields in golf tournaments, which is really kind of the point, because it's for the consumer to check out. Yep. We don't care how much money they make. We just want to watch really good players play against each other. And when you split them in half, it makes it worse. LIV stunk. PGA Tour was worse. That's bad. Good is LIV never showing up and everybody playing on the same tour. But don't ask Phil Mickelson about that. He needs to make enough money so he can gamble it all away. So the PGA Tour is not necessarily fair. So Phil needs to go and stick it to the tour by helping launch another tour. Same with loser Greg Norman. And it's failing now. It'll eventually fail, but it's going to take some time because they have endless money.
All right, so what if Mizorowski came to LSU?
You could have had the hardest throwing starting rotation in the history of college baseball pretty easily. Because if Paul Skeens and Mizorowski are 1 and 2, both those guys throw 100, and then Grant Taylor, who blew his elbow out entering that season, was throwing 98. Now, Ty Floyd would have had something to say about that, and he was throwing hard at the end. But Taylor, Mizorowski, and Skeens have all made the big leagues and all routinely hit 100 miles an hour. It would have been the hardest throwing rotation in the history of college baseball if all three of those things would have worked out. It turned out they only got Skeens out of the deal, but that was okay because they won the national championship.
It's crazy when I think about that, just off the difference of the pitcher body types. Like when you think of Skeens and Mizorowski, Mizorowski like this skinny, slim guy.
Yeah, they're both like 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", but Skeens could bench press a truck, and Mizorowski could blow away in the wind. So, but they still are whippy and throw it really hard.
I say his uniform.
And both are in my division.
Oh yeah, especially. But his uniform just looks so big on him, looks so baggy. Yeah. So. What if the All-Manary What if the All-Manary era All-Stars played the All-Jay Johnson era All-Stars played each other?
I saw this show up, so I scribbled it down on paper real quick. Rotation, Jay Johnson would have Paul Skeens, Cade Anderson, and Anthony Ianson.
Jeez.
Maneri would have Nola, Gosman, and Lang, I believe. I would narrowly give the odd to Johnson there. Skeens is a touch better than Nola. Cade Anderson's Gosman are probably what, and Ianson and Lang did it for a longer time, but I think that Ianson probably a little bit better. Maybe not. Lang was really good. I don't want to disparage Lang at all. I think that I would narrowly give Johnson the edge on the rotation.
Okay.
Catcher, Micah Gibbs versus Luis Hernandez. That's a Maneri win. First base, either Matt Clark or Blake Dean against Jared Jones or Trey Morgan. I would probably lean towards that's about a draw. Second base is a Maneri win. That's DJ LeMahieu over probably Gavin Dugas. Shortstop, you got Alex Bregman for Maneri. That's a win for them over Stephen Milam to this point. Third base, Tommy White over Josh Smith. That's a win for Jay Johnson. In the outfield for Maneri, I had Matuk, Dylan Cruz, and Antoine Duplantis. And then for Johnson, I have Dylan Cruz again, Jake Brown, and Derek Curiel. I would give the nod there to Jay Johnson. I didn't include players like Jared Mitchell, Blake Dean, Jared Poche, Jacob Berry, and Cade Beloso didn't make the Jay Johnson team. I think that it's Jay Johnson. I think it's close, but I would narrowly give the edge to Jay Johnson. They won a few more positions there, and I think their rotation is a little bit better, and that's really just bolstered by Skeens. But if Nolan Skeens went out there to pitch, I'm not confident either one of those teams is scoring very many runs. So that's the good start. And then Gosman Anderson would be a pretty good show on Saturday too. But I'll take the Jay Johnson era narrowly in that one.
Okay, so what if LSU pitchers cut down on the walks and didn't hit batters?
That would be good. I think LSU would be in a really good spot. They've got other issues to deal with. They've got to do a better job of taking care of the ball in the infield, and they got to hit more consistently. But, if you cut down on walks and hit batters, you're going to give yourself a real chance because your pitching staff does throw hard, and it does have good breaking stuff. So if you're using the good velocity and you're using the good breaking stuff, you're going to be difficult to hit. You're going to strike out a lot of guys. They are striking out a lot of guys. They lead the SEC in strikeouts. That is a big deal, and they've done that for the last 2 years. You limit your chances to make mistakes in the field when you strike out the most guys, and you increase your opportunity to get out of jams when you strike out guys and don't let them put the ball in play. And if you already have that, and now you're not putting guys on base needlessly with just free passes that are your own, then you got a chance. You're not asking to move heaven and earth here, but you do need some guys that are better than what they're showing to be better. And that's really what it comes down to. And you got to get it going now.
You better, because like you say, the schedule's not going to get easier from here.
It's not. Let's see. I'm looking at some of these in the Bayou Ford chat that I'm probably not going to read. But kudos for throwing it out there. A lot of Rutledge talk in the Bayou Ford chat. Apparently, she's leaving SEC Nation in the near future. So that's it for What If Wednesday here on this Wednesday. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Let me tell you about First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust, community bank for sure. However, not a mom and pop shop, not small. In fact, the opposite. You're talking about 25 locations. They've got the resources to help you out with your commercial loan, with your personal loan. And every decision that's made by First American Bank and Trust is made right here in Southeast Louisiana, whether it's in their location in St. John, Lafourche, Terrebonne, Hammond, Tangipahoa, St. Tammany. Some of those are parishes, some of those are cities. We got it, but there are locations all over the place. I saw one in Metairie a couple of weeks ago as well. No matter where you are in Southeast Louisiana, First American Bank and Trust is here to help you as a community bank. FABT.com is the website. FEBT, First American Bank and Trust. You can get on by the website or stop in one of their 25 locations in Southeast Louisiana. They've been at it 116 years at his First American Bank and Trust. We still got plenty to do here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. In the second hour, we'll start things off with Koki Riley coming up in 17 minutes. Koki was at the game last night, LSU and Grambling, and certainly met with Jay Johnson early at noon today. I didn't see anything earth-shattering from that press conference. We'll talk to Koki about that. Mel Kiper's got a new mock draft that we'll get to at 2:15. Who does he have the Saints selecting, and what options are available in this edition of Mel's mock draft? And I've got another edition of the SC Power Rankings coming up in 45 minutes. We'll see where LSU is. They were at 6 last week. Can they stay there, or is there a tumble in store? We'll do that at 2:30. When we come back, we're going to talk a few injuries with our friends over at Ochsner. That is next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. LifetimeRoofingLA.com is the website. LifetimeRoofingLA.com. Look, a new roof is a big deal. It's a big deal because it's protecting perhaps your biggest investment, your home. It's a big deal because it's protecting the people under said roof, which are your family members. And it's also a big deal because it could come in a significant time of need. What you don't need to do in that instance is just allow anybody to show up and put a new roof on your house. Go with a roofer you can trust. Lifetime Roofing you can trust. You can trust them because they're a local roofer based right here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out all over South Louisiana and over into Houston. You can trust them because they've got a lifetime workmanship warranty. They're not going to throw a roof on your house, get up as quick as possible, take the paycheck, and they're out of town just because they wanted to come in when the storm rolled through. Nope. They're here, and they will be for the long haul, and that's why they're willing to offer you a lifetime workmanship warranty. That is backed by Certainty, one of the oldest and most trusted names in bearing materials. So your workmanship and the materials are covered under that warranty. You want financing? They've got it up to 18 months at 0%. It's Lifetime Roofing. Find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
My father, J.B. Falgout, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgout.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Closing out hour number one here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Time now for Sports Health, presented by Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. And for that, we bring in Dr. Chris Bankhead with Ochsner. Dr. Bankhead, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks. Hunt, how are you?
Doing quite well. I want to talk to you about last week's NFL news, the big drama in the NFL where Max Crosby traded from the Raiders over to the Ravens. And then, as everybody knew he was coming off a knee injury, the Ravens looked up and went, wait a second, I'm not sure about this. This physical doesn't look great. Oh, by the way, we've made a signing with a different defensive end. So, Raiders, y'all can have Max Crosby back. What did you make of that and your understanding of the injury, when it happened, and how legitimate that was to hit the eject button there at the end?
So, I mean, I think, first of all, it's like, he clearly didn't pass his physical, and I don't doubt that at all, because he was, 6 or 7 weeks out from a knee surgery.
Sure.
I think the real question is, what was the expectation, right? I mean, I think there are a bunch of players who are in that boat right now. If you, I doubt anyone who maybe traded for Pat Mahomes would have kind of the same questions, right? So I think the biggest issue was the difference between sort of like a meniscus repair versus like a meniscectomy. He had a meniscus repair, and so he's on crutches for 6 weeks. He's in a knee brace, limiting his motion for 6 weeks. And so at 6 or 7 weeks post-surgery, there's no way he's going to look ready to return. And I think that's what his surgeon said. I mean, his surgeon, Dr. Neil Elatrosh, kind of one of the more famous orthopedic sports medicine surgeons nationally. I was really impressed by his statement. I think he was very political with it. He certainly didn't want to, imply that the Ravens medical staff did anything wrong. He just kind of really stated that the timing was unfortunate for the physical.
I'm curious, and this is almost an impossible question to answer, but it's more for conversational purposes.
Sure.
Like, we understand the most famous instance down here in South Louisiana. The Dolphins said no to Drew Brees. The Saints said, come on down. But, like, how common is it for two teams of doctors or two doctors, period, to look at a physical, to look at imaging, and come to a drastically different conclusion?
I think it happens all the time. Yeah. You see it more often, like, in the draft process, I think. And that's probably stuff you never really hear about because teams just pass on players. But I've certainly heard of multiple incidents where, maybe one team of doctors looks at, say a college player's MRI results test, like previous x-rays, and sort of says, well, maybe that's not worth that investment risk. Now that you kind of have all the information available, and other teams say it is worth it. And it kind of works out both ways. I think that certainly some teams are well rewarded, like the Saints are, but there are other times when you may get burned.
And I got to ask you a selfish question. Dr. Bankhead is our guest here from Ochsner. World Baseball Classic just wrapped up, and everybody loved it, and it was awesome, and it was. But my Cubs had a bit of an injury. Seiya Suzuki is probably the best hitter on the team. He was running to second base, slid in, comes up gimpy. And I'm told the MRI revealed a PCL strain. How serious is my injury to my right fielder here, and when can I expect him back?
Hopefully you can get some sleep tonight, hon. All right. These are injuries that are almost always treated non-operatively when they're kind of lower grade. It is not like an ACL. And so these are kind of classified by grades, kind of 1, 2, 3. Most of them are 1 and 2. And those are generally treated with some kind of brace that sort of helps support what the PCL does. Focus a lot on quad strengthening. The return rates are kind of variable depending on like how severe it is, and a lot of times that's judged based on MRI, but also how sort of lax the knee feels when you push on it. But it's sort of a relatively common injury that players return from all the time without surgery. Generally somewhere probably in like the 6 to 12 week range. I think sometimes if they're more severe, they're a little longer. I think I looked it up, like Lamar Jackson had this injury a few years ago, still one of the most dynamic players in the NFL, but he was out maybe 4 months, I believe. Christian McCaffrey, kind of the same thing, had an injury, I believe. He got put on IR, so he was out like 6 weeks or so, but full recovery expected.
6 weeks is what I'm going with. I expect 20 home runs in May. That's what we're looking at, Dr. Bankhead. I appreciate your help.
You're welcome.
That's Dr. Chris Bankhead from Ochsner as part of our partnership over there with the friends at Ochsner. Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute. We know that sports injuries can be unpredictable. One situation you can protect yourself from is muscle cramping. One of the first things you can do to aid in recovery to avoid muscle cramping is to stretch prior to and at the end of your activity. Not drinking enough fluids can also lead to muscle cramps. Be sure to stay hydrated. Learn more about sports injury prevention and treatment. Visit oxford.org/BRortho. Appreciate Dr. Bankhead for a little bit of time. Selfish question there, but I got to get Seiya Suzuki back in the lineup. I mean, my guy is the best hitter we got. He was the best hitter we had down the stretch last year, and we need him in the lineup. And I can't have him getting hurt for Team Japan. But I liked some of the stuff Dr. Bankhead had to say. I did not like some of the other stuff. I did not like the 6-month thing with Lamar. I liked the 6-week thing. So we'll try to keep it to a 6-week time frame with Seiya Suzuki from the World Baseball Classic. Speaking of the WBC, great game last night. I didn't get a chance to really pay attention. I'm watching LSU and Grambling. I've got to write that game story. And I'm also kind of paying attention a little bit to NC State and Texas from an LSU perspective. So I was aware when Harper hit the home run. I got some text messages, but I didn't see it. And by the time LSU and Grambling finished, and I went to turn it on to see if I could see the end of the ninth, confetti was flying, and Daniel Palencia was all over the place. For those that aren't aware, the closer for Venezuela, the Cubs closer. I was happy for him.
Ooh.
You know, it's
He was throwing missiles, Hunt.
I know. He was throwing hard. He's really good. He was thrust into that role last year and really kind of thrived in it. They, at the end of the season, went to him more in the middle innings and let Brad Keller close. He pitched for Team USA last night too, but he's moved on and signed another deal. But Palencia looked great. I'm hoping that that's a good experience for him in the World Series. I was texting my buddies Cubs over country last night. I don't know that I fully endorse that. It was more of a tongue-in-cheek thing, but it was good to see Palencia handle a huge moment against an awesome lineup the way he did, because Cubs are going to count on him all year long. But I need Seiya Suzuki back in the lineup. Dr. Bankhead said he's good to go, hopefully. So we'll see. That's hour number 1 here. Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Paul's for Sports Center. Koki Riley talking LSU baseball. He met with Jay Johnson earlier. What'd he say? We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Swing Easy, GCBR.com is that website. Look, if you're looking to play a little bit of golf but don't have 5 hours to get out on the course, how about a quick spin around Pebble Beach at Swing Easy Golf Club on the simulator? You can do it. Stop by after work. Just see. Maybe you've never tried simulator golf before. I'm not here to tell you that it's exactly the same as hitting a 280-yard drive. I'm not here to tell you it's exactly the same as rolling putts on grass. But I am here to tell you that it's an incredibly enjoyable way to experience some golf. If you want to do it by yourself, if you want to do it with 8 friends, you want to do it with the client, you can do all that at Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. They're on Segan at Perkins. They've got individual bays. You can book a tee time, crank the music in there, drink a couple of cold drinks, and hang out. It's a great spot. I've enjoyed it every time I have been by. Just try it once, and you will see how much fun it can be. They're on Segan at Perkins. It's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 5-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Lakers tonight seek to stretch their winning streak to 7 when they visit the Rockets. 9 Eastern ESPN Radio, 9:30 Eastern on ESPN. While the play of Luka Doncic has certainly helped fuel this run, so has role definition and acceptance, explains ESPN's Tim McMahon.
There's a clear pecking order. It is Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and all-time leading scorer LeBron James as the third option. Not a role player, but the third option. This is the first time in his career that he's had 15 or fewer shot attempts in 7 straight games, but LeBron is thriving in that role.
LeBron's averaging more than 19 points, almost 7 assists, shooting 57% from the floor over the last 7 games. Louisville star freshman Michael Brown Jr. will miss the NCAA first-round game against South Florida. He's been out the last 4 games with a back injury. NHL Penguins captain Sidney Crosby will return against the Hurricanes tonight after missing the last 11 games with a lower body injury sustained during the Olympics. The WNBA and WNBPA reached a verbal agreement on the terms of a new labor deal 51 days before the league's 30th season is set to tip off.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Thursday, we'll get you ready for the first round of the NCAA tournament and tell you which teams are on upset alert. It's on Sportsman 6 a.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. Officially half that work week in the rearview mirror, working towards the weekend. It's an early weekend for LSU baseball. Tigers and Sooners will get things started at the box tomorrow evening. It'll be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Only 2 of those for LSU this year. Week 2, which is this week, and then the final week of the season when everybody moves up in preparation for the Southeastern Conference Tournament over in Hoover. On the beat for LSU baseball is Koki Riley with The Advocate. He's good enough to give us some time on Wednesdays, does so now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Koki, how are you?
Doing pretty well. How's it going?
Going quite well. Now, how was Jay Johnson today? Y'all got a chance to talk with him a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it was solid. We got a little update on William Schmidt. Sounds like he's going to be all ready and set the pitch on Saturday.
Okay.
I think he said that everyone's available to pitch at the bullpen for tomorrow, except for maybe Grant Fontenelle.
Okay.
And those were kind of the pertinent updates outside of just the general color that we get for our little analysis and future stories moving forward. So those are kind of the news items. So
let's talk about the weekend that was. How much did the 7th and 8th innings on Sunday offensively make up for the 2 games prior?
I think that they were. I think it was just a good week to be a hitter, a good weekend to be a hitter in general. That park, the ball was flying out of that park at a hilarious degree.
Yep.
The wind was blowing out to center field the entire weekend. If you just touched it in the air, it was going out. And combine that with kind of the smaller dimensions and the fact that it's a turf field, and it was just a very, 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 very beneficial for any sort of hitter. So I don't want to overreact too much to one weekend for the offense. And I think the only real time that they struggled, I guess, was that 4-inning stretch on Sunday and then Saturday. I thought the offense played very well on Friday, and I thought that they did a good job against seeing the ball well against Connor Fennell. And I thought, Sunday it was like once Vanderbilt had to go deeper into its bullpen, it was over for their pitching. And LSU just sort of like feasted on that from a matchup perspective once they did that. And Vanderbilt's injuries right now are really, really hurting that team in terms of just what they have available from a pitching standpoint. You can just really, really tell.
Was there a player or two that stood out offensively beyond Jake Brown that you felt has made some steps forward in the last week and a half or so?
I think Omar Cerner's looked better at the plate. He's sort of getting to his full power. He a little bit more. Had a couple nice hits in the Sunday game, I believe it was, and then yesterday scored 3 times. Actually, he was responsible for scoring 3 of their first 4 runs yesterday. So, yeah, it seems like he's sort of finding some sort of rhythm offensively. I think like all the veterans in general looked really good in the SEC series. I thought Chris Stanfield consistently put the ball in play. I thought Kate Arabidi had a really sneaky good weekend.
Yeah.
It was kind of just the guys who had been there and done that who looked good, outside of maybe Omar Cerna. So it wasn't that is a little disheartening if you're an LSU fan, because like you need one or two of these transfers to step up, and especially between York, Dardar, and Arabidi, like 2 of those guys have to hit for this offense to work. And right now, only one of them is hitting in conference play, and it's very early, and there's a lot of season left, and yada yada yada. But that is important, and they need to get that fixed at some point soon.
What do you have more confidence that we'll get, and I'll use air quotes here, fixed? Take that with whatever you want. The starting pitching or the offense?
What about them?
Which one do you think has a better chance to take a real step forward and get quote unquote fixed?
I think the starters. To me, it's honestly the starters because like the guys who are struggling, a lot of them are just like veteran guys who haven't played at this level. And what if they just don't have it to play at this level, right? And there's not a whole ton you can do about that. The rotation is like 2 sophomores who, there's a junior in Cooper Moore who's still like exploring the studio space a little bit, and I think he can be better than he was on Saturday. But it's also like 2 sophomores who have been elevated into much, much larger roles. And I those are young, talented guys. We've seen them pitch against SEC pitching a little bit already. Like I think there's room for them to improve as players, and they're younger guys, and we know how talented they are. So I have some confidence, especially with the way Schmidt pitched and some of the mechanical adjustments that Case and Evans can still make, that those guys can pitch better as the year goes along. But like Seth Darter's like a 5th-year senior. Zach York's a senior. These guys haven't played at this level before. Look, where's the ceiling there? And I guess when you ask that question, I just think I go immediately to like the ceiling of the team, and they just have a higher ceiling on the mound than they do at the plate at the moment.
There's no doubt about that, and pitching's more important. You got to hit some, but if you can really pitch, you can do just about whatever you want. I'm curious your thoughts on Case and Evans now through 5 weeks, and I know that y'all asked Jay Johnson about him earlier today, so kind of bundle that all into one answer.
Yeah, with Case and Evans, and I think Jay alluded to this a little bit. He needs to make either preparation adjustments or mechanical adjustments to get him to not just throw strikes more consistently, but just like command the ball better, more consistently. And when he's on, we've seen it when he's on. He's one of the best pitchers in the league. The problem is that we just haven't seen that consistently enough so far this season. I mean, we got the 5 no-hit innings in his Sacramento State start, looked excellent, but then falls apart a little bit in the 6th, and then really fell apart against Vanderbilt, where he's kind of consistently missing. And I think with his delivery, it's such a quick delivery, and it's just so tightly wound in a way that it is kind of hard for him to repeat it sometimes. And I talked to a scout the other day on Saturday about it. He had seen him the first time, and that was kind of his observation where it's like it's so quick and so fast, and sometimes he can maybe rush through his mechanics, or he kind of has, again, more unique mechanics. There was the suggestion that maybe he doesn't strike down the mound super long, and that might affect some things. And it's just like he has to be more precise or slow it down or something when it comes to just the mechanics of his game, because right now he's missing too much. And but like I still think there's plenty of hope for him because there's a long season left, and we already know what he can do from a talent perspective. So, yeah, he's an interesting case, and he's very, very important for the team, obviously.
Do you think there's any inclination to make a shuffle in the weekend rotation at any point in the near future?
It's going to really come down to how this weekend goes. Like, if they get swept this weekend and they lose, and maybe 2 of the 3 starters don't look very good, there might be some sort of shuffle. My only real problem with that idea is that, like, who are they going to replace him with? I mean, Zach Callum looked pretty good in relief the other day, but that was one outing. Cooper Williams is just trying to get his footing again against much weaker competition and throw more strikes. I don't think he's in a spot to take the ball for 5 innings at the moment. The same goes with Jaden Newt. So it's they just don't have a lot of options if these starters don't work. And I understand the inkling to sort of go to that, but there might be like a shakeup in who starts when, right? You could see that, but I don't really see like who are the new bodies that are coming in. I don't really know.
What does your gut tell you about the Oklahoma series Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
This is a better Oklahoma team than the one they saw last year, especially offensively. Pitching wise, it seems like they've taken some sort of step back, but if Cam Johnson's on, then he's pretty darn good. It is worth noting that he really struggled in his first SEC start last week, where he walked 7 batters in 2 1/3 innings.
Yep.
So if that happens again, then LSU's definitely got a shot to win that first game. But if he's on and there's some sort of revenge factor there, it could be tough for LSU. So we'll see how that ends up shaking out. It's going to be a fascinating game with a lot of interesting storylines, obviously.
We'll see you out at the box this weekend, Koki. Thanks, man.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
He's Koki Riley with The Advocate covering the LSU baseball beat. He was up in Nashville and will certainly be at the box Thursday, Friday, Saturday for LSU and Oklahoma. He mentioned just there that Cam Johnson will get the start for Oklahoma on Thursday, and he mentioned something I told you yesterday and that I'll bring up again in SEC Baseball Power Rankings coming up in 15 minutes. He had 7 walks through not quite 3 innings in his first SEC start, and that's the guy we saw for his time in Baton Rouge. And I'm curious whether or not he can get that straightened out. And quite frankly, I have no ill will toward the kid whatsoever. But if he wants to walk 7 more in the first 3 innings coming up on Thursday, I'll welcome that with open arms, frankly. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. When we come back, Mel Kiper's got a mock draft. What does that mean for the New Orleans Saints? We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. If you want to get in touch with Renaissance Homes and Pools, here's the best thing to do. Call or text Joey Blanchard. Joey is the owner. He has been in the construction space here in the capital city for 2 decades. If you're looking for your forever home to be built, Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it. You've always wanted that new pool, Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it. Outdoor kitchen entertaining space, Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it. And Joey's going to be with you every step of the way. You have that consultation, you have that design meeting. Maybe you know what you want, and he can help you get that. Maybe you have no idea where to start. You just want a swimming pool. Joey can help you with that part of it as well. He'll be there for the design. He'll be there when they dig it, when they fill it, when they complete it. That's what you can be promised when you work with a local company with an owner who's as invested as Joey is in his company, Renaissance Homes and Pools. Reach out via text, 225-252-7745. Say, hey, Joey, I'd like to talk to you about getting a new pool. Still plenty of time to get into that pool when it heats up and the weather's hot, which it is till, what, October around here? Just reach out to Joey, 225-252-7745. It's Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Multi-platinum Grammy-winning superstar Zach Bryan is coming to Tiger Stadium Saturday, March 28th for the Death Valley Live Stadium Series. And 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge is hooking you up with free tickets. Register now at 1045ESPN.com for your chance to win.
Tell you about our friends at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. You can find them online at boudreauxelectrical.com. That's at boudreauxelectrical.com. Neil and Melissa have been running Boudreaux's Electrical for 40 years. Local, family-owned Boudreaux's Electrical Services. You can buy a Generac home standby generator from a lot of different places. That's a fact. But do you get the personal touch and the continued customer service that you will get from Boudreaux's Electrical Services? You need that thing installed, they got you covered. You need maintenance done, they've got you covered. Do you need a company to monitor your generator remotely 24/7? In case there's some sort of issue, they'll know to come out and fix it, even if you don't. That's the peace of mind you get from a local company like Boudreaux's Electrical. So if you're looking for a Generac home standby generator to make sure that you don't lose power for the hurricane, for that afternoon thunderstorm, for that winter event like we had, and you get the peace of mind of knowing your power is never going out. How many times have you come back from evacuating and the house is 90 degrees and you got to throw everything out of the refrigerator and it smells terrible? It's just a drag, but it's part of living in this part of the world unless you get that Generac home standby generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical. Give them a call, 985-397-1562, 985-397-1562, or 225-300-9389, 225-300-9389. That's Boudreaux's Electrical Services. All right, Mel Kiper's latest mock draft is out, and it does have some shakeups in the early picks. He's still sticking with Fernando Mendoza out front there. He has changed his number 2 pick of the Jets to David Bailey, the outside linebacker from Texas Tech. Arvell Reese, another outside linebacker, edge rusher at the Cardinals at 4. Jeremiah Love all the way up to at number 3 for Arvell Reese. Jeremiah Love at number 4 to the Titans. That's way up there for him. Caleb Downs is the 5th pick to the Giants. That's someone I'm going to talk about with the Saints as we move closer to the draft. I think that's kind of my wish for a player to fall. Most mock drafts are going to have Caleb Downs in front of the Saints. But every year, somebody backs up a few picks. And if you're talking about the Giants there at 5, it stands to reason he could get to the Saints at 8. And we know that the Saints, even though Sean Payton's still not there and Dennis Allen's not there anymore, like there are people in that Saints front office that are still connected to Ohio State. And they understand what they get when they dip into that well. And it's been pretty good more often than not. Caleb Downs is kind of a guy that I want to keep an eye on. At number 6, Monroe Freeling from Georgia, the offensive tackle to the Browns. Sonny Styles right in front of the Saints, an Ohio State Buckeye. At number 7, to the Commanders. And then at number 8, Ohio State, Carnell Tate.
Oh.
So it's a run on Ohio State players, and the Saints may have their ability to pick one right there. I haven't talked a lot about Carnell Tate to this point, but the blurb here from Mel says the Saints' main signings came on offense, signed David Edwards and running back Travis Etienne. That's also where I expect them to look during the draft. They need to surround Tyler Shuck with as much talent as possible. Number 2 wide receiver on the roster is Devon Vele, who made 25 catches last year. Tate brings a well-rounded scouting report, solid route running, the ability to come down with tough catches thanks to his hands and his body control. He'd be a great opposite Chris Olave, another excellent receiver to come out of Ohio State in recent years. There's a trend here. Buckeyes, there's a significant amount of Buckeyes. Carnell Tate is bigger than some of the receivers on this Saints roster. He's not bigger than Vele, but he is 6'3". He's 195 pounds. And if you look at his production, it's been really good the last 2 years, and it's been very consistent the last 2 years. 2024, 52 catches. 2025, 51 catches, so right on. Then in 2024, 733 yards. Last year, 875. He went up about 3 yards per catch and then went from 4 touchdowns to 9 touchdowns in that Ohio State offense that was very, very good. That's obviously with a couple of different quarterbacks there, and the production was still very, very good. Ohio State's going to print wide receivers. They just churn them out year over year over year, and we know that the Saints have dipped into that well with a couple of really, really good ones. Michael Thomas, pretty good, and obviously Chris Olave on the roster right now. And I would be perfectly fine with Carnell Tate in this pick. If I'm looking at this mock draft, and you heard me rattle through the names that would go in front of the Saints, I still think I would lean Jordan Tyson over Carnell Tate. They've got Jordan Tyson in this draft going number 11 to Miami, but both being available there. I would not throw a fit at either one, to be clear, and nobody's asking my expert opinion on drafts analysis, but just my opinion on it is that Carnell Tate would be fine. I would rather Jordan Tyson, but going with either one of those at that position, I think is excellent. This is what I feel stronger about in my analysis of the NFL draft. I'm not going to sit here and purport to be a scout, and the draft is very fickle in that way. Nobody hits on all their picks. Every organization misses in the first round, second round, third round at times. It is a fickle thing. Every analyst misses. So I'm not here to fault based on player too much. I'll fault you if you take Anthony Richardson right at the top of the draft, and I can watch him in college and go, he's not good. Like, then I'll jump out there. But more often than not, I'm not going to jump down a scout's throat, a GM's throat about the player. Position is different. I think position, you need to show a good plan. And if you show me your work here and you go, okay, we feel like wide receiver is where we want to go right here at number 8, I'm good with that. I think wide receiver is a great plan. I think Carnell Tate's a heck of a player. I think you're not asking him to jump in and immediately be your number 1 wide receiver. Chris Olave can do that, and he provides a different type of receiver on a different side of the line of scrimmage. You insert Devon Vele in there, You see what Polk can give you, and that's still a little bit of a wild card for me to see what he gives you at wide receiver. But I like Carnell Tate in this spot. I think that's a fine pick. And it's funny that you're seeing so many Ohio State players pegged toward the Saints year over year over year, but I'm not going to complain about it because they're always good. So I think that's just fine here. I like Carnell Tate in this spot, and if they go wide receiver, if they go Carnell Tate, I like it, and I think that adds to this Saints offense. And I'll tell you, if this is the pick that they make, I think you go into training camp late in July, and you should feel like you've got a chance to go from one of the worst offenses in the NFL, which is what you absolutely were in October, one of the worst offenses in the NFL. I think you could be looking at a top half of the offense, top half of the NFL offense this coming season with the changes you've made. You're older at tackles. You're way better at one guard. You're way better at quarterback. You've upgraded at running back. You've gotten younger at that position. You've upgraded at wide receiver. You've gotten more talent there with Polk and Tate. You upgraded at pass catching at tight end at least. You've got Juwan Johnson, but you also bring in Fant and Foster Moreau moves on, so you're more dynamic there. I think you go from I don't have that in front of me. I don't think I'm stepping out of bounds to say in October the Saints were a bottom 3 offense in the NFL. Like maybe it was bottom 5, maybe it was bottom 7. I don't think it's out of bounds to say they were bottom 3. They were awful, but they had injuries. They had a quarterback that didn't quite know what he was doing. They didn't have a lot of weapons. The offensive line was a disaster. Like that's all in the rearview mirror. But I think it would be fair to suggest you would be a top 15 offense in the NFL on paper if you take a wide receiver at number 8 here, and I'm all for that. I told you up top, if Caleb Downs slides and they want to go there, I'm good with that. I think he's a star, and they need somebody literally at the star spot to play on that defense because you've had some subtractions on the defensive side, and there are some needs there. So I'm not going to complain at all about going to Caleb Downs. But if you do go wide receiver, and it is Carnell Tate or it is Jordan Tyson, one of those guys, I think you're a top 15 offense in the NFL, and I think that's a very, very exciting thing for Saints fans. So I'm in for this pick with Mel Kiper. And truth be told, as we did a segment on this like 3 weeks ago, there are not a lot of bad options here. Here are the picks in this Mel Kiper draft. The other one we did wasn't Mel, but to drive this point home, this is what's after Tate, where the Saints select. Chiefs 9, Reuben Bain, edge rusher, potentially star. Bengals, Mansour Delane, I would love that, but he's the 10th pick. Jordan Tyson goes 11 to Miami. Jermod McCoy, right there, same position as Delane at cornerback to the Cowboys at 12. And then you get to the spots that I don't want the Saints to go, which is Francis Mauigoa, the offensive lineman from Miami, and then Spencer Fanu, the offensive lineman from Utah. At that point, I don't want you to go there, but the picks right behind the Saints would make a ton of sense for the Saints. Jermod McCoy would make sense. Jordan Tyson would make sense. Mansour Delane would make sense. Reuben Bain would make sense. And, of course, the pick that they have in making Carnell Tate would make sense. So the point being there, the options are plentiful, and it's impossible at this point to suggest that when the Saints pick at 8 that their board will be picked clean. That's not a possibility based on the top end of this draft, the positions of need for the Saints, and the players that are going to be available. Even in a draft where teams are not going to be going nuts for quarterbacks in front of you, which is what you really would hope for if you have a quarterback and you are picking early, that people are flying up to take quarterbacks because you don't need them anyway. That's not going to be the case this year, but you're still perfectly fine at 8, and I'm good with Tate right there. Jordan, how are we feeling about it?
Not feeling the best. Not feeling the best. I like Carnell Tate. I do think he's a first-round pick, wide receiver. I just can't take him top 10, especially being a receiver too. Now, if I would go receiver, I would go Jordan Tyson because he's way more dynamic. Now, his injury history is the biggest red flag about him. That's like the end-all, be-all. His hamstrings are falling off the bone. That's not good. Especially, that's not good at all, especially at a position where you're going to be needing those hamstrings pretty much every play. But his just dynamicness, and he has the most pop, like star potential to become a receiver one. But I hate to say it, but there's just no way I can, like, if Reuben Bain is there and he falls all the way to 8, and you're knowing that Cam Jordan is probably gone, so he doesn't have to come in. You still got Gradison, you still got Chase Young. He doesn't have to come in and be like the premier guy. To add that to that mix, I mean, I know people going like his arm length or whatever, but he's got
short
production.
arms.
Yeah, he's got Will Campbell disease, but he's got production. Same way, like he's got production, real production. He ain't Cassius Howell disappearing when the game matters. No, he showed up when every game mattered the most.
Cassius Howell showed up when Carius Curran showed up.
Yeah, against little freshman 5-star tackles. That's what he can show up against. Reuben Bain go against top of the best.
Carnell Tate feels like He feels like Michael Thomas. He feels like Chris Olave. I wouldn't describe Thomas or Olave as massively explosive or a game breaker or any of that. They just win at the line of scrimmage. They win with their hands. Olave's had some drop troubles with the Saints, but
the Dolphins game.
He didn't at Ohio State, and they're just guys that you can just pencil in for 1,000 yards. And it kind of feels like the mold Carnell Tate is out of as well. Might not be the fastest guy on the field, but he's got body. He's got the ability to win off the line of scrimmage, and he can catch the football. So it's what it is. I like it. We'll see. There'll be much more of these mock drafts to come as we move forward. Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. We'll come back, do some SEC baseball power rankings. How far do the Tigers tumble? It's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Let's take a tour at Marucci. Marucci here in Baton Rouge. What a story. Found in a backyard shed in 2004 by a couple of former big leaguers who had put their cleats up, and their athletic trainer said, let's make some bats. And now you fast forward 22 years, and those bats are the best in the world, and they're used by the best in the world as the official bat of Major League Baseball. If you'd like to hear that story, go take a tour. If you'd like to see where they make 1,200 bats a day, it's kind of hard to comprehend. 1,200 bats a day. You can go see them over at Marucci. Take a tour, maruccisports.com/campus-tour. Check that out. And every ticket comes with a 20% discount in the campus tour and in the hitter's house. So go to maruccisports.com, book that campus tour, take your youth baseball team, take your youth softball team, take your kiddos, go by yourself and see where the official bat of Major League Baseball is made. That is, of course, at Marucci.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized, it'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
You business not thrilled about your upcoming insurance renewal? Contact the Highland Insurance Group. They are happy to put a second set of eyeballs on that. Always happy to be the next viable option over there at the Highland Insurance Group. I can tell you, they got a team of experts there. They will make sure you're taken care of. You should trust your insurance broker like you trust your attorney, like you trust your CPA. You trust them with the information, let them do their job, and you just keep running your business. That's what the Highland Insurance Group is happy to do for you. Jonathan Carbo and his team pride themselves on that. They're going to make sure you're taken care of. Yes, premiums important, but they're going to make sure your coverages are correct. When was the last time you got your building evaluated? When was the last time you looked at whether or not you're going to pay co-insurance penalties? Do you know whether or not you're covered properly if one of your employees clicks on a phishing email that compromises the system? What if one of your company automobiles gets into a wreck? Do you have the proper umbrella limits? These are all questions that you need to ask as opposed to, hey, what does that proposal say on the last page? What's the premium? They'll take care of you in that perspective as well. They'll make sure that you are covered. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Find them online at highlandig.com. They're here in Baton Rouge. Online at highlandig.com. All right, we got 25 minutes to go here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. It's been a fast-moving show. We talked to Koki Riley, talked to Dr. Chris Bankhead a little bit earlier as well. Did some What If Wednesday. There's been plenty going on, but right now it's time for SEC Baseball Power Rankings.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. The Texas Longhorns.
I'm comfortable slotting Texas at the top here. They've been there the whole time for me, but I feel like they are the best team. Their pitching is sensational. If it weren't for one big swing from Ole Miss back on Friday of last week, they sweep that series against Ole Miss. Now, credit the Rebs. They got the big swing and hit the grand slam there in the 8th inning. But Texas dominated on Saturday and Sunday, and their rotation is superb. You got Riojas, you got Harrison, you got Volantis. Great bullpen, and they're swinging the bats as well. Texas is a force. They're very, very good.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Mississippi State, very, very, very competitive up there. They lose the series in Fayetteville, but they did get the second game of that series. Were walked off in another. I like their rotation. I think it's very good. I do think they're going to hit a ton as well. This is a complete team that Brian O'Connor's built. They're catching it, they're hitting it, and they're pitching it. It's a tough place to go play up there at Baum. Not a lot of people win there. Mississippi State didn't, but I still think they're the second best team in the league.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
I got the Hogs up one spot to number 3 after playing well against Mississippi State and winning that series. They moved Cam Kojal over to shortstop from second base. They're trying to shore some things up there. They haven't hit the ball to their standard to this point. They haven't hit it as well as Texas or Mississippi State, but I do like their pitching, obviously. I think that Gabe Gackle is as talented as any Friday night starter in the league. So I like Arkansas. Surprise, surprise, moved them up to number 3 this week.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn drops a spot. Not their fault. They swept over the weekend, so that's good. They went to Missouri and got all 3 games. They've gotten Chris Rembert back. He's swinging it pretty well, and I think they've got a legitimate ace at the front of their rotation. He's been excellent to this point. I like this team for Butch Thompson. He's done a great job acquiring talent there and getting it to work for him. Tough draw last year when they couldn't beat Coastal in that Super, but it's a good team. I've got them at 4.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
I moved Oklahoma up 2 spots. They beat Texas A&M 2 out of 3. The conditions in Norman were ridiculous. The wind was blowing like 45 miles an hour. They won a ridiculous slugfest in Game 3 on Sunday. But the problem is Cam Johnson. That was a bad start for him on Friday. If he's bad again tomorrow, which I'm hoping he is, I'll have to do some adjusting there with Oklahoma. Good start to Cam Johnson's year for 4 weeks. Bad against A&M. We'll see what he does in the box. He's a big piece to what they're doing. Your Friday night starter is pretty important. Mercurius has been sensational, and Saturday's not as good against A&M. But it's an interesting spot for Oklahoma coming to the box. I've got them at 5, up from 7, but they got to do some work this weekend on the road.
Texas A&M!
Really tight series between Oklahoma and A&M, so I back A&M up 1 spot. Big deal for A&M in College Station. They're coming to Baton Rouge here later on in the season. Josh Stewart, probably their best reliever, is probably headed for Tommy John. I'm not a doctor, but I watched the video. He delivers a pitch, and immediately grabs his elbow, drops it to the side, and walks off the field. Maybe he's just fine. I've got a feeling he's probably not. And it stinks for Stewart because he was a big-time reliever for them in the College World Series run when they went to the final 2 years ago. He was hurt all last year with a torn ACL. Now it looks like the UCL. I'm just going off the video, but the video was awful. So not good news for College Station there in College Station. They did get some guys back. Gavin Grahovic is back in the lineup, and Caden Sorrell is in there as well. But their best reliever just went down, so that's something to be aware of with Texas A&M.
The Florida Gators.
I don't know what to do with Florida. They moved up 5 spots. They moved up 5 spots not because they swept South Carolina. We'll get to South Carolina in about 20 minutes at this rate. They're just atrocious. But you saw the good versions of Liam Peterson and of their Saturday starter, whose name's now escaping me, Aiden I'm missing it. It doesn't matter. He was their Saturday starter last year. Those 2 guys threw shutouts over the weekend. South Carolina's awful, but their talent is immense there at Florida at the top of the rotation. And if they give you that weekly, you're going to have a chance to win. And they're going to be big-time draft picks. And so they didn't hit a ton over the first 2 games. They run-ruled South Carolina with 13 runs. It's probably overly ambitious to move them up 5 spots to number 7, but I like the top 2 in that rotation, so I did it.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky moves up from 10 to 8 after they got a sweep over the weekend to open league play. I don't know that a sweep over Alabama is something to necessarily write home about. We don't know how good Alabama is, but it is off to a good start. They got Josh Bell back at shortstop. He didn't play all 3 games. They're going to try to kind of keep him in intermittently until he recovers, if he recovers. It's kind of a gnarly shoulder injury he suffered, but he's a difference maker for them. It's a solid Kentucky team. I'll say that about Mangione's squad. So Kentucky's at number 8.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia beats Tennessee. You know how it ended at this point. They split the first 2 games. Game 3, Georgia's got a lead. Tennessee hits a home run, hits a ball that would have gone over the fence that would have given the Vols the lead. The runner slams the bat down. He's all fired up, and then Georgia robs it to win the game. As close as a series can be. So I've got these 2 teams as close as they can be. Georgia's at 9, and Tennessee.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Is at 10. They looked pretty close. They're playing in a bandbox. They hit a lot of home runs. I think that the pitching talent is good. The results have not been awesome from a pitching perspective. Tennessee did swing the bats a little bit better over the weekend in Athens, but you expect that in that stadium. So these 2 teams have a ways to go for me. They're 9 and 10.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
We've gotten to 11. We haven't mentioned LSU yet. Vanderbilt comes in at number 11. Fennell's not a traditional ace, but he has proven himself to be a good SEC pitcher. I didn't like what I saw on Sunday from Vanderbilt. That was a ridiculous start from their Sunday guy. Although on Saturday, you had a freshman that threw it great. They are hitting home runs. The wind was blowing out $1 billion, so that helped them hit some home runs against LSU. But they do have a little bit more power in their lineup to this point. So I don't love the Vandy staff. I think the lineup is okay, and they do have more power. So I've got them at number 11.
The LSU Tigers.
LSU's the big faller this week. They fall 6 spots to number 12. They're not really doing much well right now. That doesn't mean they're going to finish at 12. In fact, I would wager that they won't finish at 12 in these power rankings. But right now, that's what I got to do with them.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss falls 5 spots. Their offense did not swing the bat at all, save 1 swing on Friday in Austin. Now, Austin is a tough place to hit, and that pitching staff's really good. But Ole Miss is striking out a truckload. They are not walking. They're not hitting enough home runs. And now their Saturday starter experienced some discomfort on Saturday, came out of the game. Now, they've done the imaging, and he says he's okay, and he might pitch this weekend. He might be ready to go next weekend. But Townsend's their most talented pitcher. If he has to miss any sort of time at all, Ole Miss is in big, big trouble. It appears for this point right now that he's not going to have to miss a lot of time, but he might.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
They were down the line in my first power rankings, and they have not done anything to raise up those power rankings. Got swept in Lexington over the weekend. Zane's a nice arm in the rotation. LeBron is a super talent, but I don't see much in this Alabama team. I don't think they're going to make the NCAA tournament.
The Missouri Tigers.
Mizzou was scrappy. They were in all 3 games against Auburn. In all 3 games. Not run-ruled, not blown off the field, not embarrassing. They were in all 3 games, and they lost them all, and that's going to happen. But they were in all 3 games, so they're clearly not 16, and 16 is clear.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
South Carolina got swept over the weekend. They got shut out on Friday, shut out on Saturday, got run-ruled on Sunday 13-3. Then they came back yesterday and played Charlotte. They gave up 13 free passes and made 5 errors and lost. This team is bad at everything. I don't know how Paul Manier's doing it. I've watched him, and I've interviewed him after a lot of losses in my early days on the LSU baseball beat. He did not take them very well. They're piling up now. You've got a complete lack of emotion in that fan base. They have tuned out. You've got 9 SEC weeks to go, and guess what? You just got swept by Florida. Now Arkansas is coming to town. So have fun with that. It's just not a good situation in Columbia, South Carolina to this point. So those are my SEC power rankings on this Wednesday. It's Texas at 1, Mississippi State at 2, Arkansas at 3, Auburn at 4, Oklahoma at 5, A&M 6, Florida 7. Number 8 is Kentucky. Georgia is number 9. Got Tennessee and Vanderbilt there at 10 and 11. LSU drops to 12. Let's hope we can do something about that this week. Ole Miss is at 13, Bama 14, Missouri's at 15, and South Carolina comes in 16th. SEC Power Rankings after week 1 of league play. Take a time out, come back and close it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
I'm telling you, my friends over at Ochsner, and they want me to tell you that it's Colon Cancer Awareness Month. Why is that important? Well, because colon cancer is extremely common, but it is so preventable and treatable when it's caught early. Screening can detect these precancerous polyps before they turn into cancer. So if you're an adult knocking on 45's door, it's time to start considering that screening. Anyone with a family history probably needs to get screened earlier. Colonoscopy is the gold standard, though there are some other options if you are at a low risk. Talk to your provider. That's important. They can help determine what's the best choice for you. And having that established relationship with your primary care provider makes all the difference. So ask about your personal risks. The early detection can save lives. Schedule that appointment at Ochsner.org/schedule. That's Ochsner.org/schedule or on the My Ochsner app. That's from our friends at Ochsner.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. Contact Joey Blanchard, 225-252-7745. You're looking for that pool of your dreams. You can find them online, builtbyrenaissance.com. I do love when LSU plays the occasional Thursday night baseball game. It shortens the week down, takes one day of no action and tosses it away for our perspective. It turns Sunday into kind of a day off. Tomorrow's not one of the days that I would want LSU to play the Thursday game. It has nothing to do with baseball. I would like to get home and watch hoops tomorrow, but I'm not going to watch hoops tomorrow. I'm going to get home and cook dinner and get the kids in bath, and then I'm going to watch LSU because that's the important thing. But I would love to watch basketball tomorrow. That's the next 4 days, to me, are the best 4 days in sports that we have in America. If you told me I could only enjoy one aspect of sports, March Madness would not be it. I want the teams that I root for, and oftentimes the team I root for is not in March Madness, and I've been around for 38 years now, and my team's been in the Final Four once, so I would rather root for my team, but if you're just taking all the allegiances out, this is the best. And these 4 days where it's just wall-to-wall hoops, you get that witching hour where there's 4 games inside of 8 minutes to go, and you got upsets over here and teams you hate over here and teams you're pulling for and future lottery picks over here. It's just awesome. And I'm looking forward to paying attention to it best I can over the next couple of days, but LSU baseball is going to take precedence tomorrow night. Maybe Sunday when LSU baseball doesn't play and you've got the fourth of these awesome 4 days, I can kind of lock in and watch a little bit of that. But I'm very, 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 very excited. The one thing that I will say that has made it a little bit more difficult, and this is a real nitpick that won't even apply to me really tomorrow, but they used to have all the courts were different for every site. So you could kind of tell what you were looking at if you were in a sports bar with a lot of TVs. Now they've uniformed them all. So they all look the same. And so now it's kind of sometimes disorienting to look up at what game you're supposed to be trying to follow because all the courts look the same. But you have to be in a sports bar to have that problem, or a sports book, and I won't have that problem. I'll be right here in studio, or at my house where I have one TV. So it is what it is. I'm not going to complain about that. I'm excited for the madness. We'll get it cranked up tomorrow. If anything happens from LSU's perspective, we'll certainly talk about it. All right, let's close it out.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so Roy McElroy's Master Champions dinner menu was released today. Oh, Lord, I see what you're saying. I got to get my Jimmy out on.
Get your
right
Jimmy
now.
out on. Let's read that menu, Jordan.
It is highlighted by tempura shrimp and grilled elk sliders. The first course is tuna carpaccio. The main dishes are Wagyu filet mignon or seared salmon. Dessert will be sticky toffee pudding with vanilla ice cream. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. It's good.
Ooh, I mean, this is expensive.
I'll take it. I mean, Rory can handle it.
I'm about to say elk sliders.
And by the way, that is not anything compared to what the wine list is on the bottom.
Oh, really?
Which I don't know anything about wine, but I know that Rory is super rich and loves wine. So he will be and El Augusta has a ridiculous wine cellar. So he's going to have the wine is where the money is going to be off the charts. But
elk sliders?
I've only eaten game like that on 2 occasions.
Yeah.
I went to my cousin's wedding in Colorado, and I got bison
at that.
Delicious. And then I went on a vacation to Lake Tahoe one time it was kind of a conference type deal. And I did eat elk then, and I like it. I think it's awesome. So I'm in for that, and I'm in for the Wagyu filet mignon, which I don't believe I've ever had.
Never.
I don't think I've ever had Wagyu, so I'm in for that. I don't know about the sticky toffee pudding.
Yeah, I'm not a real big pudding, especially toffee. I don't even know what toffee.
It's probably fine, but if you got a slice of cheesecake back there, just
give me some cookies, some brownies, something like that. I'm about to say.
And they've had that. So there was a cookie skillet recently. I think maybe Scotty Scheffler did a cookie skillet.
All right, so after a prolonged labor battle, the WNBA has reached a verbal agreement for a new CBA.
Okay.
The salary cap will jump from $1.5 million to $7 million.
Wow.
With the Supermax starting at $1.4 million, it was only $200,000 last year. So is the WNBA taking steps in the right direction? Take it or leave it.
You got to take it. If they up the salary cap by 4x, then that's pretty good. So whatever. I'm thrilled about that. Pay the people. If there's people watching, if there's people coming, then you up the revenues. Sounds reasonable.
I'm about to say, especially we're talking about a Supermax that was $200,000. So we gotta step it up a little bit. So last but not least, the Dolphins, they have been receiving calls about Devon Achane. You know, the Dolphins have been blowing everything up.
Yes.
But they have told teams they're not interested in trading Achane. And Achane is coming up on the last year of his deal. So keeping a running back in his prime when you're rebuilding, take it or leave it?
I'll leave that. That sounds completely stupid, if we're being honest. Like, if you've blown up the team and you think you're going to stink, like a running back's like the first asset you would mortgage off.
Basically.
Yeah, that's the first piece you're going to pawn off, because by the time you're good, his tread's off the tires. So if you had, a edge rusher, a offensive tackle that you felt really good was going to play until he was 34.
You can keep that guy for sure.
Keep that guy around. A running back, that's absolutely not. If you can get an asset
in his last year of his deal,
toss it up. Yeah, that's ridiculous. You got to get rid of that. But I'm not in charge of the Dolphins, so they'll, I guess, do exactly what it is they want to do. That's it for Take It or Leave It.
That's it.
That's it for us on a Wednesday. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Appreciate our guest for jumping aboard today. Had Koki Riley earlier on in this hour. Appreciate Dr. Chris Bankhead for stopping by as well. We did plenty, though. We talked about Mel Kiper's mock draft. You missed that. Hunt on Saints is where you can find all of our Saints content. Missed our reaction to LSU and Grambling last night in the first segment. Jay Johnson sound in the second segment, where he had some interesting things to say about Chris Stanfield, as well as the pitchers that he worked with. I've got a story up on that at LouisianaSports.net. Koki was with us at 2:30 talking Tiger baseball as well. So go back and catch the whole show on demand on YouTube, wherever you find your podcasts. Hunt Palmer Show is what you can search to help us out there. All right, tomorrow LSU and Oklahoma are at it. We'll talk about that. Joe Healy will jump aboard to talk to us. We'll get you updated on all the scores for March Madness. If you're wagering or got a big bracket, good luck to you tomorrow. We'll back tomorrow. Matt's going to drive you home next on AFR.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com. FabryChevrolet.com is that website. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Just a couple short weeks ago, we made the short drive up to St. Francisville. Had a lovely weekend. But the point I'm telling you is it's really quick from Baton Rouge to St. Francisville if you want to go up there and see some fantastic Chevys and GMCs on the lot. If you want to kind of scout the inventory first, you can do that at FabryChevrolet.com. But when you go up to St. Francisville and you check them out on Highway 61, you're going to get an amazing customer experience, because the Fabry family has been offering that to Baton Rouge for almost 4 decades. They've got 3 locations, 5 brands, and thrilled to have this Chevrolet GMC point in St. Francisville. If you're looking for a Silverado, how's $11,000 off MSRP sound? Pretty good. Looking for a GMC Sierra, how does $13,000 off MSRP sound? Pretty good. They've also got 0.0% APR financing on those Sierras. Check them out at Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Of course, online at FabryChevrolet.com.
At Parrish, we're built for tough players and tough roofs.
Coach is tough on us about preparation, and Parrish brings that same championship mindset.
Do